Picture the last time you filled up this summer. You reached for the pump, and right there next to your regular, there was a cheaper button. 88 octane, E15, 15% ethanol, a few cents less per gallon, practically winking at you while gas sits north of $4. And maybe somewhere in the back of your mind you've heard the noise online. The videos with the red arrows and the all caps warnings. E20 is next, 20% ethanol. They're going to force it into your tank and it's going to eat your engine alive. So let me ask you the question those videos never actually answer. Is that true? Is the government really about to push E20 into the gas you buy? Because by the time we're done here, you're going to know exactly who's behind this push, what a higher ethanol blend genuinely does to the car sitting in your driveway, and the part almost nobody mentions, that the loudest, scariest version of this whole story isn't even happening in this country. Stay with me, because that last part changes everything you think you know about what's going into your tank. But before we get to who wants E20, you need to understand what's already in there. Because the part everyone skips is that E15 didn't sneak in. It was waived in. This summer marked the 5th year in a row that the Environmental Protection Agency suspended its own summertime rules to let E15 flow nationwide. In March of 2026, the agency's administrator, Lee Zeldin, signed that waiver, and he didn't hide the reason. He pointed straight at the Middle East, at fuel supply problems, at prices climbing toward $4.55 a gallon. The fix? Stretch the gasoline with more corn, cheaper at the pump, patriotic on paper. Here's the catch they don't print on the button. Ethanol carries about a third less energy than gasoline. Less energy means fewer miles. The Department of Energy's own numbers say you lose roughly 3 to 4% of your fuel economy on E10 and 4 to 5% on E15. So that cheaper button? You're buying more often. The savings evaporate somewhere between the pump and the highway. And hold on to that number, fuel economy. Because when we finally get to E20, it gets noticeably worse. And I'm going to show you the exact figure the corn lobby would rather you never saw. Now here's where this stops being about pennies and starts being about the machine you depend on every single morning. Ethanol doesn't just burn differently, it behaves differently. It's thirsty for water. It literally pulls moisture out of the air, and when it pulls in enough, the blend separates inside your tank. The corn and the water sink, the gasoline floats, and what's left attacks the soft parts of your fuel system. The seals, the gaskets, the rubber lines. The carburetor, if you're driving something with some years on it. The people who repair lawnmowers and boat motors will tell you ethanol is the #1 thing killing small engines. And the industry that tracks it found drivers misfueling by the millions. More than 1 in 5 putting the wrong blend in the tank. And here's the line that matters most for your wallet. About 95% of brand new cars are approved by their own maker to run E15. Almost none of them are approved for E20. Sit with what that means. The blend everybody is panicking about isn't just hard on old engines. It sits completely outside what your manufacturer will stand behind. Put it in the wrong car, and you're not just risking the engine. You're handing the dealer a reason to walk away from the repair bill and leave it on your desk. Remember that, because it's about to collide with the biggest question of the whole video. So let's finally answer it. Is the government forcing E20 into your tank? Here's the truth, and I'm not going to dress it up the way those other channels do. No, there is no rule. There is no waiver. There is no law. The Environmental Protection Agency's ceiling is E15, and only for cars built in model year 2001 or newer. Above that line, for the regular car in your driveway, 20% ethanol isn't even legal to sell you. The one bill in Washington that aims higher than E15 targets E25 and E30, and only in cars that haven't been built yet. And right now, it isn't even alive in this Congress. It's sitting in a drawer, gathering dust. So if there's no law, no mandate, no E20 waiting at your corner station, where on earth did all this fear come from? Because something lit this fire. Something put those warnings in your feed. And the answer is a place you almost certainly did not expect. India, not Indiana, India. Because while America is still arguing about E15, India already crossed the exact line you're afraid of. They made E20 their national fuel, 20% ethanol at pumps across the entire country. And drivers there pushed back hard. They took it all the way to India's Supreme Court, arguing it would corrode and choke the engines of millions of older vehicles. And last September, that court said no, the rollout stands. So all that footage, all those mileage complaints, all those corrosion horror stories you've been handed as a warning about your car, a lot of it is real. It's just real 8,000 miles away, in a country with different cars, different climates, and different rules. It was never about your driveway. And Europe? Europe is only now studying whether to allow E20 someday. No decision, no date, just a maybe. Now, that figure I promised you, when the Department of Energy actually tested E20 in regular vehicles, fuel economy dropped almost 8% compared to pure gasoline. 8%. That's the quiet cost nobody waving the corn flag wants on the screen. You'd be paying for a fuel that's cheaper at the button and more expensive by the mile, in a car your manufacturer never signed off on. But here's the part that should truly hold your attention, because this is where it turns from a fuel story into a power story. Somebody does want E20 here, not the government, at least not yet. The corn growers, the ethanol producers, the farm state senators who answer to them. Groups like Growth Energy and the Renewable Fuels Association have spent years pushing past E15, and the National Farmers Union has said it right out loud. E20, E25, E30. That's the staircase they want America to climb, one step at a time. And why wouldn't they? Every single gallon blended with corn is a gallon they sell. So when prices spike, and the Middle East rattles the oil markets, the pressure to pour more ethanol into your tank doesn't come from some villain in a back room. It comes from an entire industry with billions of reasons to want your engine running on their product. That's the real story. Not a secret overnight mandate, a slow, patient, well-funded push, accelerated by every oil shock, toward a fuel most of the cars on the road today were simply never built to drink. The mandate isn't here, but make no mistake, the momentum absolutely is, and it's moving in one direction only. So what do you actually do with all of this? Know your blend before you press the button. If it says E15 or 88 and your car has some age on it, or your manual says E10, walk to the next pump. Don't let a foreign news clip scare you into believing a law passed that never did. And don't let a smooth industry talking point convince you your engine can swallow something your own manufacturer refuses to insure. The truth sits right in the middle, and the middle is exactly where they're betting you won't bother to look. And here's the thing, that warranty trap I mentioned, where the wrong fuel hands the dealer a clean excuse to deny your claim, that is not just an ethanol problem. There is a quieter, far more common gas pump mistake voiding warranties on newer cars right now, today, and almost nobody standing at the pump knows they're making it. That's the one we're pulling apart next. So if you want to walk into your next fill-up smarter than the driver at the pump beside you, subscribe and stay with me, Because the more you understand about what's really going into your tank, the harder it becomes for anyone, a foreign headline, a billion-dollar industry, or the dealer down the road, to take you for a ride.